there, wrestling fans, and welcome to episode 3 of the Twins that Ring. Hey, Dad, welcome. You're a twin,
Yes, I am.
and I'm Joe Panther III, and
This is Joe Panther, Papa Panther.
welcome to Twins at Ringside podcast. So we have an awesome guest today. This lady, she's the building blocks of the women's revolution. Let's give a warm Twins at Ringside welcome to Glow's own Hollywood.
Woohoo!
Thank you, Joe. I get to see both Joes. I love it. Joe Jr. and Joe Sr. or Panther
That should
Papa.
be an easy one to remember.
Yeah,
I know, right?
yeah.
Thank you for having me on.
No problem. And it's also you're my third guest, and like you're the first person from Glow that we had on. So my question for you is like, what got you into wrestling?
Well, that's a good question. So that was a long, long time ago, probably before you were born, I bet. So I was in medical, and I had done a little bit of acting here and there, but mostly, you know how it is when you're growing up and your folks want you to have a real job. They just want you to have. So I'm in medical, but some friends of mine were in the movies. They were extras on sets, and they said, "Do you want to be an extra?" And I'm like, "An extra what? What does that mean?" So I got with this agency, and I did it one time, and then my boss was like, "Do you want to be an actress, or do you want to have a real job?" So I didn't do anything else with that work, that entertainment work. But then I got I can't say an email because we didn't have email, but I got a phone call, and it said that there was an audition for a sports show, and it didn't specify that it was wrestling. And I'm thinking, well, gosh, in school I played softball and volleyball and all these different sports. I'm sure this will be simple. I go down to the audition at the Hyatt on Sunset in Hollywood, California, and there was a promoter there, David McLean, who was talking about this show, and he said this was going to be a women's all wrestling show that was going to film in Las Vegas. And I was like, wrestling, I don't know anything about it. So I'll try to make it a long story short, but I went down to the audition to learn how to wrestle. So Mondo Guerrero was the trainer. So I was trained, those 12, they needed 12 girls, Joe, to do a pilot. And I kept going on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays to train at night. So I do my job during the day, train at night. It was paid to train, which was great on top of it. So Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, I would train 7 to 10 p.m. And I noticed that every time that I would go back, there'd be less and less girls. So they're weeding out who they wanted. And we were talking earlier, Joe, before the live show here about me being the first Glow girl hired. And so what had happened is Mondo Guerrero had asked when we were training, he said, which one of you which one of you girls can ram your head into the turnbuckle, turn upside down, and land on your back? I raised my hand first. I'm like, I could do it. You guys, mind you, I've never had wrestling training in my life. So I raised my hand first. I tried to do it. And David McLean said, in my mind, you were the first Glow girl hired because you were the one that rose your hand first and did it first. He said, so Hollywood was number 1. Americana was number 2. And Lisa Moretti, Ivory from the WWE, was number 3. And it went like that. And so they needed 12 girls. I was one of the 12. We shot the pilot. They called my character Hollywood because they already had 12 names. So they had characters already, and they were trying to put our characters or our personalities with the characters. And I was thinking, gosh, I hope they make me Hollywood or make me, Tina. And they said, you're going to be Hollywood. And I was so excited. And we shot the pilot in Las Vegas. I took a week off of my job. We shot the pilot in December. Then we had to sell it. So I was one of the 4 girls that did that sold it. We had to go to a convention. It's called NAPI, National Association TV Programming Entertainment. So Matilda the Hun, myself, Americana, and Tammy Jones are the four girls that go to the convention to sell our show, along with the director and David McLean. We sold it, and I did the pilot and all four seasons of Glow. In a nutshell. It's
It's
pretty
funny
cool
going
because
back
you're.
to watching the show. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, Joe. What?
I remember watching the show. One of the episodes that was what I remember seeing. They went to go to like a convention to sell the show,
That's
and they
right.
didn't get a real table. They said it said something on the table that the girls were like, "What? Wait, you
Yeah.
don't."
That
Yeah, it
that
didn't
was the
even
Glow
say like
Netflix
fruit.
show. Yes, the
Yeah.
Netflix show did that. That's exactly, but it was a little bit not as small as their table. We had a really nice booth. We had a little simulated ring. We had our show running in the background on a monitor. And so buyers would come in to see what they wanted, what new shows they wanted on their program, and they took a chance and we sold the show. So they told me right away, we've sold the show, and I quit my job. I gave my job 2 months notice because I'd been doing that kind of work for 5 years, and I moved to Vegas, you guys. And I will be honest, I have been in this field for over 36 years. I've been wrestling. I still wrestle. I have my own company. I do lots of conventions. I do a lot of signings. So I'm one of the few of the Glow Girls that's still wrestling. I think it's just myself and Lightning, the character Lightning, that can still wrestle. And we're old. We're way older than you, Joe. I might be older than Senior too. You never know.
That
Joe looks young. He's not as young as you think he is.
I'm
Well, I'm
40.
glad. You know what? But
Yeah.
it's just a number. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all a number. I just turned the big 60 last week was my birthday. And but
Happy birthday.
I thank you. I love what I do. And I think that
Absolutely.
when you love something that you do, it keeps you youthful. We'll use that word.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
You'll use that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got,
Well,
got any questions for
actually, right now I don't. I'm just
um
listening to the stories. Very
so
interesting.
with
Thank
you doing
you.
Glow, like, was there anything that you like did with Glow that kind of like stuck with you to now, like within
Well,
wrestling?
first of all, we love our fans because without the fans, I wouldn't be doing the show with you guys today, and I wouldn't be asked by promoters to sign at conventions because that was happening way before Glow Netflix. I was still signing, I was still wrestling. So without the fans, we would have nothing. But one of the things in the show that was really cool was my character did PSA commercials, and those were the anti-drug commercials. So they had a heel, me, who plays the heel, a bad guy, doing "Don't do drugs, don't drink and drive." I used to
That
do
was
those
during
at the
Reagan
show.
administration, right?
Yes, remember the Reagan? It
Yeah.
was 1985. And
Yeah.
Glow was 86, 87, and 88, 89. So yeah. So they thought, what better character to do it than a bad guy that everybody likes? Because back then, not very many people liked the heels, But when I would lose, oh my gosh, they would boo the good girl. And they didn't do that for everybody. So not ironically, but I did not win a championship. But what I did win was we had it was a championship against Tulsa, and I ended up winning that. And then there was a tag team championship that Vine and I had done, I think, with Lisa Moretti, which was Tina and Ashley. But because the show didn't continue, I was going to be able to take the crown from the last girl who had it, which was Daisy. Daisy had the crown at the end of season 4. So her and I were going to go head to head. And but it didn't happen, and that's okay. It doesn't matter. I loved my time on the show. I loved all the girls on the show. For the most part, I think everybody got along. We're on TV, we're touring, Oh, and from that, I did Married with Children, and that was pretty cool. I did a lot of the talk shows. We've Got It Made, Tonight Show, all the different Sally Jesse Raphael, which I think was in Connecticut. Donahue Show. I got to do the Donahue Show in New York. I mean, sometimes I just think that luck is with you, and you're in the right place at the right time. You get a lot of people, though, that you'll meet and that you'll interview with, and some people will not say that they like the show. It was a variety. It was wrestling, and we had comic, the little comic sketches in it, and that's what made it different. It made our show different. And some people think that we were making fun of wrestling. We were never, ever making fun of wrestling. We did our job, but we didn't have a lot of years and a lot of experience like some of the ladies today, because wrestling today, the women's division, is so much more than what we were doing back then. There was not an all women's wrestling show in the mid 80s. There was independent, yes. Not to take away from any of the independent wrestlers that were on the scene.
So I have a question.
Yeah, sure, Joe.
The series that the Glow series that's on, how accurate is that to your experience with the Glow ladies?
Yeah, that's a great question, because we get it all the time. It is not a carbon copy, not at all. Right. But that's okay. But it's still about Glow in the 80s.
Absolutely.
And that's the good thing. And I looked at it as a positive, because anything or anybody that's promoting a show that came on over 36 years ago, who would have thought that someone would remember that and put that back on the map?
Yeah.
And let a lot of the ladies today, that aren't wrestling, shine a little bit more, bring them into the spotlight. So it's not, but and there's a lot of drama in it, Joe, but that's okay, because you need to bring back that audience. You know what I mean? You got to have drama, and you got to have stuff that may or may not have happened. Like Mark Maron, who plays their director, he's doing drugs. And you know what, Matt, our director was not doing drugs, but he liked to gamble. So there was his vice,
Everybody has it.
Everybody has one, and no one's perfect, but I thought they did a tremendous job with the show.
Yeah, that's cool.
So,
yeah.
Wait, you have a question?
Yeah. Do you ever get in reunion with all the ladies?
So before Glow Netflix came on, I'm thinking it was 2012. I'm looking at a poster. That's why I'm turning here. It was called Glow, the story of the gorgeous ladies of wrestling. We had a reunion where all the girls who I had not seen in many, many years we did a reunion. So there were two young guys from Texas that put it together. I'm looking at their names. I'm trying to remember their names. Brett and Brad. Brett and Brad did a documentary of us. And they're the ones that did this documentary, Glow, the story of the gorgeous ladies of wrestling. The reunion was there. Then we put that on TV, and then it was like on YouTube. And that is where Glow Netflix comes from, because Jenji Cohen, the creator producer of Orange is the New Black, saw that. And she said, let's do a TV show about Glow. And that is how it all came to fruition.
Wow.
Yeah, I keep saying, I was just blown away going, oh my gosh, how cool is that? And then they had to lease the trademark from one of the girl that owned it, which was Ursula Hayden. Another girl said that we all got ripped off or not paid, but I didn't own the Glow trademark. Nobody owned it. The girl that owned it was the farmer's daughter, and that character was Babe, the farmer's daughter. And she owned that. She leased it to Glow Netflix, and they paid her, not a ton of money. Some girls will exaggerate and say, "Oh, she got millions." No, no, no. Ursula did not get millions. I mean, she was lucky probably if she got $500,000, and you know what I mean, to lease the
Wow.
name so that they could use it. So if you ever hear somebody say, "Oh, we got ripped off for millions," I will always tell you the truth. I will always explain it. I won't make anything up. And you know what? And quite frankly, I don't think that Ursula owed any of us anything. That was hers. Now, what I would have liked to have seen, I would have liked Glow Netflix to invite some of the ladies to, be on the show. That would have been nice for us to make cameos. But you know what? It is what it is. That's life. We all know how that goes.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that they did the show.
Yeah, and hey, as soon as I found out I was having some Glow people on, Dad knows. I was like, I'm gonna watch Glow now. And Dad's like, it's been on Netflix forever. You're just watching it
He's
now.
right.
I'm like, I didn't
Well,
know.
the Glow Netflix has been on. He's right, but you always can go back to Joe Jr. if you want to go back and see some of our Glow matches.
Yeah.
Those are on YouTube. So if you want to see those originals, I see them on Mike Rand, Mike, Mike Rand. He has a lot of the girls' matches on his YouTube channel. And you could go there and rewatch and laugh hysterically because you'll just go, "Oh my gosh, I remember that," or "Oh my goodness." I look at it, and you know what I do sometimes, you guys? I think in the last couple of days, like if it's Throwback Thursday or Flashback Friday, I'll put one of the matches out so people could, click the link or not. But
Sure.
that's kind of neat to do that as well.
Definitely.
My next question for you is, if you could take any female wrestler from the wrestling of now in the Attitude Era to put them in Glow, what 5 wrestlers from now would you put in Glow?
Well, I told you earlier I don't watch it, so I couldn't tell you. I knew there's Charlotte Flair, I don't know all their names, but there would be a few of them. There's one, and I know she's not in WWE anymore, where she used to have like purple hair and changed her hair. I loved her. I can't think. Do you know who I'm talking about, Joe Senior?
Sounds familiar. The purple hair. Oh, Sasha Banks. Sasha.
That's it. I love her. She. That's perfect. I'm looking at my book over here. She would be a great Glow girl for sure.
And did you know she hurt her ankle in
I heard that. Yeah. Yes, I did hear that. I did hear that. I love Sasha Banks.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? And that does happen. I mean, those freak accidents happen. I ended up breaking my leg, not in Glow. I had no injuries. Very lucky. I stayed in shape. I exercised. I really didn't have to diet at all. I was so lucky. I'm naturally thin because my dad is tall and thin. My mother is more rounder, but I got dad's genes, and I stayed in pretty good shape. And I did not get injured whatsoever. Lightning didn't either. A lot of girls ended up getting hurt and having to quit. So, I mean, that's unfortunate, but but I think if you take good care of yourself, there's Becky Lynch too, and Bailey. I know all of them.
Yeah.
I think that they would have made really good Glow girls as well.
Becky would have been hilarious if she was on an episode of Glow. She played, was it Glow? No, it was Rocky. It was young Rocky she was on. I think she would have been funny. I think they probably would have made her like the Irish step dancer like she was in NXT. They would have made her an Irish wrestler.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
You have any more questions, Pop?
No.
My last and final question: if there was any young wrestler or anybody that wanted to get into the business, what kind of advice would you give them?
Well, be true to yourself, first of all. It's a hard business, and I always gave 110%. Don't be lazy. You want to make it, you give more than 100%. You do everything and everything that you can. Yes, yes, yes. Be polite, be nice. And keep pursuing it, even if somebody said no, or this isn't for you. If that's your dream, go for it. But I also want to say, if you can have education or have a plan B, it's really important to go to school or have something on the side, because you don't want to be 60 years old and landing, because like your dad said, you can look good, we can look great on the outside, but the inside doesn't lie, does it? It just doesn't. So
Yeah.
having a backup plan is always good.
Yep.
That's what I don't, my plan B. Well, I do soap. My thing that I do right now, you guys, that I love doing is I make, and I know it sounds weird, but it's handcrafted soap. So like this is what costs. See this right here? It's called Nashville Botanica. It's just soap and it's homemade and there's no preservatives in it. But you guys, I get off the road because I'm still traveling all the time. And some people like to cook. Some people like to read. I like to make soap. And that's my like fun, creative thing to do. And I'm writing my autobiography and it's done practically. And see this right here, all this, you guys, I'm going to show you something. All of these are photos. They're photos that have to be scanned, and I'm going to put photos inside the book, but I have a book coming out this year. Dan Murphy helped me write it, and it's called Inside Glow, a Hollywood story. And Hollywood being me is, or Hollywood, however you want to look at it. So I'm super excited for that to come out. And when it does, you guys, Joe, I got to come back on your show. We'll talk about it.
Let me know when the book comes out.
And then I
Let
could
me
meet
know.
sister too. I could meet Angela. Is it Angela?
Absolutely.
I could meet Angela as well.
It's Sassy Chica, yes, Sassy
Yeah,
Angela.
Sassy.
Like, let me know a week before the book comes out. Hollywood,
promise.
I will have you on. We'll, I hate going live, but we'll go live with that episode.
That would
to
be
promote
fun.
your
Whatever
book.
you guys want to do, that would be lovely. I'd love
Yes,
that.
yes.
Thank
Well,
Why
you.
not?
Hollywood, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. You don't even
No,
understand how
anything
much.
for you. Anything
Oh,
for you. I'm so
thank
glad that
you.
we got to meet in person, and I got to meet your father. That's
Yes,
so wonderful.
Yeah.
Family, I
and
said earlier, family is everything.
Sassy will be here next time. She apologizes. She got
No
held up.
worries.
So
No worries. No, I'm going to see her again. I'm going to come back on here, and I'll get to
yes,
see her as well.
yes.
All right,
I'm Joe
guys.
Panther III,
And I'm Papa Panther.
and your turn.
I'm
No, your
Hollywood.
turn. Yes, and we will catch you in the Twiniverse. Bye, everybody.
See ya.
Bye-bye.